The Mistaken Ceremony. Dr. Alex Chen had never believed in fate until the night everything changed. The abandoned Horizon Observatory had always been his secret refuge when research funding fell through or academic rivals published first. Tonight he sought solace after his latest rejection letter, flashlight in hand as he navigated the dusty corridors. "This place should have been mine," he muttered, running his fingers along the control panel of the decommissioned radio telescope. The university had deemed it obsolete, but Alex saw potential where others saw only outdated equipment. The strange humming started softly, almost imperceptible beneath the building's normal creaks and groans. Alex followed the sound to a storage closet he'd never noticed before. The door vibrated slightly, pulsing with an opalescent light around its edges. "What the hell?" he whispered, pressing his palm against the wood. It felt warm, almost alive beneath his touch. When he turned the handle, a rush of sweet-scented air enveloped him. Instead of cleaning supplies, he saw swirling lights, like a vertical pool of liquid stars. Curiosity overwhelmed caution. Alex reached toward the phenomenon, expecting his fingers to meet resistance. Instead, gravity inverted. The world twisted sideways, then collapsed inward like a dying star. He landed hard on polished stone, gasping for breath in air that tasted like cinnamon and electricity. As his vision cleared, Alex realized he stood in an enormous circular chamber. Crystalline columns rose hundreds of feet toward a ceiling that rippled with aurora-like energy. Beings of various forms occupied tiered seating around him, their attention focused on the central dais where he had unceremoniously arrived. "What manner of intrusion is this?" boomed a voice that seemed to vibrate directly in his skull. Alex turned to face the speaker and froze. Before him stood the most extraordinary woman he'd ever seen. Tall and regal, her skin a luminous purple that shifted with subtle iridescence. Her hair floated around her head like living flame, defying gravity. She wore ceremonial armor that gleamed with embedded constellations, and her eyes, entirely silver without pupil or iris, regarded him with cold fury. "I'm sorry. I don't know how I got here. There was a door in my observatory, and—" "Silence," she commanded. A translator embedded in his ear rendered her words into English. "You dare interrupt the celestial binding of Princess Arya, heir to the 7th Dominion?" Alex raised his hands in surrender. "Look, this is clearly a misunderstanding. If you could just point me toward the exit." A collective gasp rose from the audience. A small hovering drone approached, projecting the image of an elderly being with tentacle-like appendages where a human would have a beard. "The prophecy," the projection intoned. "An outsider arrives at the moment of binding. The stars have chosen." The purple woman, Princess Arya, apparently, stepped closer, her expression shifting from anger to calculation. "Impossible! This creature is not worthy of royal consort status." "Nevertheless, Your Radiance," said a robed official, "the ancient laws are clear. He has appeared during the celestial alignment, crossing dimensional barriers to stand within the sacred circle. The binding is recognized." "What binding?" Alex asked, a terrible suspicion forming. Arya's silver eyes narrowed. "According to the laws of my people, you have just accepted my hand in marriage." What? No, I didn't agree to—" "The binding ceremony continues," announced the officiant over Alex's protests. "Let all bear witness to the union of Princess Arya and her chosen consort." "Alex Chen," he supplied automatically, then winced. "But I'm not—" "The stars have chosen," repeated the gathered assembly. Arya leaned close, her voice dropping to a whisper that only Alex could hear. "Play along if you wish to survive the night, Earthman. We will resolve this mistake later." As ceremonial cloaks were draped over his shoulders, Alex's scientific mind raced through explanations. Hallucination, dream, psychotic break. None seemed adequate to explain the alien princess now reluctantly taking his hand and the interdimensional portal he'd stumbled through. The binding is complete. May your union bring peace to the seventh dominion and strength to the celestial empire. Guards surrounded them, escorting the newly engaged couple through massive doors of what appeared to be liquid metal. "Where are we going?" Alex whispered. Arya's expression remained unreadable. "To my flagship. War is brewing, Dr. Chen, and you have just become a most unexpected piece in a very dangerous game." Diplomatic adjustments. Alex woke to the gentle vibration of engines and the disorienting sensation of artificial gravity. The ceiling above him rippled with what looked like a real-time view of space, stars streaming past as the ship traveled faster than light. He lay on a bed that conformed perfectly to his body, almost like a sentient memory foam that anticipated his every movement. "Good morning, Consort Chen," came a melodic voice from everywhere and nowhere. "The Imperial vessel's Star Dancer welcomes you to your first cycle aboard. Her radiance awaits your presence in the diplomatic chamber." Alex sat up slowly, trying to process the events that had led him here. "This can't be happening," he muttered to himself. "I'm an astronomer, not a whatever this is." A holographic display materialized beside the bed, showing what appeared to be clothing options. Alex tentatively selected something that looked reasonably dignified yet comfortable. Within moments, a panel in the wall slid open to reveal the exact outfit. "This is insane," he whispered, examining the garment's material, which felt like silk but seemed to shift colors slightly when he moved it. After dressing, Alex followed the subtle lighting pattern on the floor that guided him through corridors of impossible architecture. The ship's interior was organic yet precise, with flowing lines that somehow never sacrificed function for form. Crew members of various species nodded respectfully as he passed, though he caught whispers and skeptical glances. The diplomatic chamber doors parted automatically. Inside, Princess Arya stood at a massive circular table displaying a holographic star map. Her purple skin seemed to glow under the ship's lighting, her floating hair now tamed into an intricate arrangement of braids adorned with what looked like miniature stars. She wore a less ceremonial version of her armor, though it still radiated power and authority. "Our unexpected consort arrives," she said, without looking up from the display. "Did you sleep well in your new quarters?" "About as well as anyone who's been kidnapped to another dimension and forced into an engagement," Alex replied. This got her attention. Silver eyes locked onto his. "Forced? You walked into a sacred ceremony of your own accord, Dr. Chen. Through a portal I didn't know existed to a place I didn't know was real." Commander Sarah, a stern-faced woman with geometric tattoos covering her visible skin, stepped forward. "Your Radiance, the Procyon delegation requests confirmation of the binding. They question the legitimacy of an off-worlder consort." Arya's expression hardened. "Tell the Procyans that the stars themselves confirmed the binding. The ancient laws recognize Dr. Chen as my chosen partner, regardless of his origins." "And if I don't want to be recognized?" Alex asked. "Then the alliance falls apart," Arya replied coolly. "The marriage was to unite the Seventh Dominion with the Celestial Empire's core worlds. Without it, war is inevitable. Billions will die." Alex ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "So, no pressure then?" For the first time, something like amusement flickered across Arya's face. "I understand this is not what you expected from your life, Dr. Chen. It is not what I planned either. You can call me Alex, since we're apparently engaged and all." "Alex," she repeated, as if testing the name. "Come, look at this." She gestured him toward the star map, where dozens of systems glowed in various colors. The red zones represent territories controlled by the rebellion. They oppose my family's rule and any alliance with the Dominion. They will use your presence as propaganda that I am unfit to lead. Because I'm human? Because you're an outsider with no understanding of our ways or history. Because your appearance at the ceremony disrupted thousands of years of tradition. Commander Sarah adjusted the display. We've received intelligence that rebel agents have infiltrated the diplomatic mission on Vega Prime. Your scheduled appearance there is in 12 hours. Cancel it, Alex suggested. And show weakness? Arya shook her head. Impossible. We must proceed as planned, presenting ourselves as the united front the Alliance requires. What exactly does that entail? Alex asked, warily. You will accompany me to the reception. You will behave as my chosen consort. You will not reveal that our binding was unconventional. So, I pretend to be madly in love with you? Arya's silver eyes widened slightly. Emotional displays are unnecessary. Royal bindings are strategic alliances, not romantic entanglements. Simply demonstrate appropriate respect and deference. A junior officer interrupted with a bow. Your Radiance, the cultural integration specialist has arrived for Consort Chen's preparation. What followed was 6 hours of intensive education. Alex's head spun with protocol lessons, cultural taboos, and basic language instruction. By the time he was dressed for the diplomatic reception in layers of shimmering fabric that somehow managed to be both comfortable and restrictive, he felt like he'd crammed for the most important exam of his life. Remember, his instructor warned, never consume the blue beverage without first acknowledging the server's left antenna. Why not? Alex asked, for what felt like the 100th time. It would imply you wish to challenge them to ritual combat. I sighed. Of course it would. When he rejoined Arya in the shuttle bay, she assessed his appearance with a critical eye. Acceptable, she finally declared. High praise, he muttered. As they boarded the transport vessel, Arya lowered her voice. There will be those looking for any mistake, any reason to declare our binding invalid. We cannot give them that opportunity. Why me? Alex asked suddenly. Why not just find someone else? Surely there's a royal protocol for mistaken marriages. Something complex passed across Arya's features. The stars chose you, Alex Chen. Whether by cosmic design or terrible coincidence, we are bound together now, and we both must live with the consequences. As the shuttle descended toward the gleaming spires of Vega Prime, Alex realized that somewhere between terror and confusion, he'd become curious about this world, this culture, and most surprisingly, about the enigmatic purple-skinned princess who was now, against all probability, his fiancée.
Enemies and allies. The diplomatic reception on Vega Prime resembled nothing Alex could have imagined. The gravity was slightly stronger than Earth's, making his movements feel weighted and deliberate. The Grand Hall itself defied conventional architecture, with floating platforms that drifted among atmospheric layers in different colors. Some delegates breathed water, others methane, yet all mingled in spaces specially calibrated for cross-species interaction. Remember to smile, but don't show your teeth to the Canthian ambassador, Arya murmured as they processed through the receiving line. It resembles a death threat in their culture. Alex managed a closed-lipped smile that felt more like a grimace. Anything else I should know before I accidentally declare war? Just follow my lead and speak as little as possible. They moved through the crowd with practiced grace, practiced on Arya's part, at least. Alex felt like a clumsy shadow trailing her luminous presence. Her purple skin seemed to capture and enhance the light, making her the natural center of attention even without her royal status. "Your radiance," greeted a tall insectoid being with compound eyes that refracted light like prisms. "The hegemony extends its congratulations on your fortuitous binding." "The Seventh Dominion thanks the hegemony for its continued friendship," Arya replied with a formal bow. The being's attention shifted to Alex. "And this is the unexpected consort. How fascinating. We had heard rumors of his unusual arrival." Alex felt Arya tense beside him. He extended his hand in what he hoped was an acceptable gesture. "Dr. Alex Chen of Earth, it's an honor to meet you, Ambassador." The being made a clicking sound that Alex's translator didn't interpret. "Earth? A primitive system in the restricted zone? How did you traverse the quantum barrier?" "The stars guide those destined for greatness," Commander Sarah interjected smoothly, appearing at Alex's side. "If you'll excuse us, Ambassador, the Procyon delegation requests an audience." As they moved away, Alex whispered, "Thanks for the save." Sarah's expression remained impassive. "I'm protecting her radiance, not you." "The ambassador seemed particularly interested in how you crossed dimensions, information we ourselves lack." Alex shrugged. "I told you everything. The door, the light, then suddenly I was in your ceremony." "Such transportation should be impossible without—" A sharp tone interrupted her, and Commander Sarah's hand went immediately to her weapon. "Security alert," she announced, scanning the room. "Something's wrong with the atmospheric stabilizers." Alex noticed it then, a subtle shift in the air pressure, a faint metallic taste. The floating platforms began to drift erratically. "Your radiance, we should evacuate," Sarah urged. "And appear weak before the delegation? Unacceptable." Alex's scientific instincts kicked in. He studied the environmental control panel near their platform. This isn't a malfunction, he realized. The oxygen levels are being deliberately manipulated. Someone's trying to... The explosion ripped through the chamber's lower level. Their platform lurched sickeningly. Delegates screamed in various languages as the gravity fluctuated. Through the chaos, Alex spotted figures in dark armor emerging from service corridors, weapons drawn. "Rebels," Sarah confirmed, drawing her pulse pistol. "They're targeting you, Your Radiance." 3 attackers converged on their position. Sarah engaged the first, while Arya's guards moved to intercept the others. But the platform's instability gave the attackers an advantage, and one slipped past the defenses, lunging toward Arya with a crackling energy blade. Alex reacted without thinking. His background in astronomy required extensive knowledge of physics, including gravity and momentum. He grabbed a decorative sphere from a nearby table and hurled it precisely at the platform's edge controls. The sudden tilt sent the attacker stumbling past Arya, directly into Alex's improvised tackle. They crashed against the railing, the rebel's weapon skittering away. The attacker's helmet retracted, revealing a face with features similar to Arya's, but with pale blue skin instead of purple. "The royal line is corrupted. No outsider should claim the binding." "I didn't exactly volunteer for this job," Alex grunted, struggling to restrain him. Security forces swarmed the platform. The remaining attackers retreated, using personal transport devices to vanish through the atmospheric layers. Commander Sarah secured the captured rebel, while Arya stood watching Alex with an expression he couldn't read. Hours later, aboard the Star Dancer, Alex sat in the medical bay while a hovering device sealed a cut on his arm. Arya entered, having changed from her formal attire to more practical clothing that still somehow managed to look regal. "The physician reports your injuries are minor," she said, standing at a careful distance. "Just a few scrapes. How are the delegates?" "Shaken but unharmed. The rebels failed in their objective." "Which was what exactly?" Arya hesitated before answering. "To assassinate me. And you. They believe our binding threatens their vision of racial purity for the Empire." Alex winced as the medical device finished its work. "Great, I've been here 3 days and already have assassins." "You acted unexpectedly," Arya said, moving closer. "Your intervention saved my life." Don't sound so surprised. I am surprised. You have no obligation to this empire or to me, yet you risk yourself. Alex shrugged. Seemed like the thing to do at the time. For the first time, Arya smiled, a small, guarded expression that nevertheless transformed her face. Perhaps the stars knew something when they brought you here, Alex Chen. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He wandered to the observation deck, finding it empty except for Commander Sarah, who stood watching the stars streak by. "Trouble sleeping, consort?" she asked without turning. "Alex, please. And yes, it's not every day you get engaged to an alien princess and then attacked by rebels." Sarah turned to face him. "You handled yourself well today, for an Earth scientist." "Thanks, I think." She has lived her entire life preparing for leadership. Her binding was meant to secure peace for generations. Then you arrived. Believe me, I'm as confused about this as anyone. Sarah studied him carefully. The rebels will try again. The question is whether you'll stand with her when they do. I don't know anything about interstellar politics or royal responsibilities, Alex admitted. But I do know I don't want anyone hurt because of me. A start, Sarah nodded. She needs allies she can trust. Perhaps you can become one. As Alex watched the stars blur past, he realized his life on Earth, his failed research, his lonely apartment, his academic disappointments, seemed increasingly distant. Here, against all logic, he mattered. To political stability, to peace negotiations, and perhaps, though he wasn't ready to admit it, to a purple-skinned princess whose guarded smile had inexplicably made his heart race. Heart of the Empire. The imperial capital sprawled across an entire moonlet orbiting a gas giant, its crystal spires and gravity-defying architecture making Alex's breath catch. After a month aboard the Star Dancer, he had adjusted to space travel, but nothing prepared him for the magnificence of Aria's home world. "The ceremonial palace awaits," Aria said, standing beside him at the viewport. Their relationship had evolved into something resembling friendship, occasionally hinting at more during quiet moments between diplomatic crises. "Another binding ceremony?" he asked. "The formal presentation to my father, Emperor Cooper," he explained. "He wishes to meet the man who fell from another dimension into his daughter's engagement." Alex straightened his imperial attire, now comfortable in the flowing fabrics. "Should I be worried?" "He respects strength and honesty. Be yourself." "The clumsy Earth scientist who keeps accidentally saving the day?" Aria's fingers briefly touched his, sending an unexpected warmth through him. "The man who has stood beside me despite having no obligation to do so." Their shuttle descended toward the palace complex. As they prepared to disembark, Commander Sarah approached with concern etched across her face. "Your Radiance, there's been unusual movement among your cousin Kai's guard. Security protocols suggest caution." Aria nodded. "Increase the personal shield strength. My cousin has always been ambitious." The throne room dazzled with impossible opulence, gathered dignitaries from 100 worlds lining the processional path. Emperor Cooper sat upon a throne that seemed carved from living starlight, his presence commanding absolute attention. "The Princess Aria and her chosen consort," announced the Imperial Herald. As they approached the throne, Alex noticed Aria's cousin Kai watching from a privileged position near the Emperor. His expression was pleasant, but his eyes held calculated malice. The formal introductions proceeded according to protocol, until a servant approached with ceremonial wine. Alex, now trained in court etiquette, noticed the server's hands trembling slightly. More concerning was the faint discoloration in the liquid meant for the Emperor. "Your Imperial Majesty," Alex interrupted, breaking protocol. "Perhaps we should toast with a different vintage. This one appears compromised." Silence fell across the throne room. The servant paled visibly. Kai's hand moved subtly toward a concealed weapon. "Explain yourself, Earthman," the Emperor commanded. "The wine shows signs of tempethol contamination. An unfortunate storage error, I'm sure." Emperor Cooper's eyes narrowed. He gestured to his personal guard, who took the wine for testing. Within moments, confirmation came. The wine contained a deadly neurotoxin. "Treachery," the Emperor declared. Guards surrounded the trembling servant, who immediately pointed to Kai as his conspirator. Chaos erupted. Kai drew his weapon, but found himself facing not only Imperial guards, but Aria and Alex standing united against him. The rebellion had played its hand prematurely. Later, in private royal chambers, the Emperor addressed them both. "You have uncovered a plot years in the making," he told Alex. "My nephew has been cultivating dissent, positioning himself as the pure alternative to my daughter and her foreign consort." "I simply observed what seemed wrong," Alex replied. Aria's fingers briefly touched his, opening publicly. "Father, Alex has proven himself worthy of the binding 1,000 times over. What began as cosmic accident has become—" She paused, looking at Alex with silver eyes that now held unmistakable warmth. "Something far more significant." That night, alone in their quarters, the formal barriers between them finally dissolved. Aria's luminous skin glowed softly in the starlight as she approached him. "On my world, binding partners choose each other. The stars chose you for me, but now I would choose you myself, Alex Chen." Their first kiss transcended species, dimensions, and the improbability of their meeting. As Aria's floating hair entwined around them both, Alex realized he had found his place in the universe, not in the abandoned observatory on Earth, but in the arms of an alien princess who had captured his heart. Choosing destiny. The rebellion's final assault came during the grand coronation ceremony. With Kai imprisoned, his loyalists launched a desperate attack on the imperial palace. Explosions rocked the foundation as Alex and Aria fought side by side, her royal guards forming a protective circle around them. "We must reach the dimensional gateway," Commander Sarah shouted over the chaos. "It's been recalibrated to return you to Earth if needed." "I'm not leaving," Alex insisted, helping Aria stabilize a wounded diplomat. "The choice may not be yours," Aria replied grimly. "If the rebels seize control, your execution would be certain. At least on Earth, you would survive." They battled through corridors of the once magnificent palace, now scarred by weapons fire. The dimensional laboratory appeared ahead, scientists working frantically to maintain the portal's stability. "Your Radiance, we've located the exact coordinates of Dr. Chen's original entry point. The portal will remain stable for approximately 3 minutes." Through the swirling gateway, Alex could see the abandoned observatory exactly as he'd left it months ago. His old life waited, safe and predictable. Commander Sarah defended the laboratory entrance as rebel forces converged. "You must go," Aria urged, her silver eyes filled with emotion she no longer tried to hide. "My people need me to lead them through this crisis. I cannot abandon them, but you can still return to your world." "What about us?" Alex asked, holding her hands tightly. "Everything we've built." "The stars brought us together. Perhaps they will again." A massive explosion shook the laboratory. 1 minute of stability remaining, the scientist warned. Alex looked at the portal, then back at Aria. In her eyes, he saw not just the princess or the warrior, but the woman he had come to love across impossible odds. In Earth, he had been an overlooked scientist with failed research. Here, he had found purpose, adventure, and a love that transcended dimensions. "My home isn't a place. It's where I'm meant to be. And that's here, with you." The portal collapsed behind him as he stood firmly at Aria's side. Her expression transformed from sorrow to radiant joy. "Together, then," she declared, her royal armor gleaming as she readied herself for battle. "Together," Alex agreed. They fought their way to the Imperial Communications Center, broadcasting proof of the rebels' treachery throughout the Empire. Support for the rebellion crumbled as world after world declared loyalty to Princess Aria and her consort. Months later, as peace settled across the Celestial Empire, Alex stood beside Aria on the palace balcony overlooking the capital. The scars of battle were healing, new construction rising alongside ancient spires. The scientists believe they can recreate a stable portal to Earth, if you ever wish to visit your homeworld. Alex drew her close, her purple skin luminous in the triple moonlight. "Maybe someday, but I'm not looking back. My future is here." Her floating hair curled affectionately around his shoulders as she smiled. "The stars chose better than we knew, Alex Chen." "They certainly did, Your Radiance," he replied, leaning in for a kiss that sealed their binding not by accident or ancient law, but by choice and love that had bloomed across the stars. As imperial fireworks illuminated the night sky, celebrating the new era of peace, Alex reflected on the wrong door that led him exactly where he was meant to be.